We think it's normal when birds fly away and flee when we approach them, as if this is the way it's supposed to be. But it doesn't have to be that way. This week, during the Mindful Bird Sit, I'll share a story that just happened to me with some birds in the forest and what I did to turn this narrative around. If you'd like to learn how to become a part of the natural world rather than apart from it, then click the link below to check out the video. Hey there, thanks for joining the Mindful Bird Sit. If you're new here, my name is Kristi, and I help people connect deeply with birds and nature while boosting their skills, elevating their confidence, and helping them to feel more in love with life. If that's something you'd like to do, please subscribe and stick around. You can also check out any number of my online courses like Identify Any Bird Anywhere, or you can check out The Roost, my new bird lovers community. All right, let's get started. I was going to do this project that I have for myself, which is part of our momentum boost that we have here. And my project is to go out and explore new areas. And so on the way back home the other night, I was doing that and I went to this place I'd never been. It's right next to a golf course. It's like these trails that go through the forest. And it was 5 o'clock, and this time of year, that's getting close to sunset, like very close to sunset. And I was like, oh, I'll just go for like a little bit, you know? I didn't know, I had no idea what it was going to look like, what the place was like. So I parked my car, walk across the street. I see the trail map, but it's really hard to read it. It's like one of those trail maps that's been up for a long time. It's kind of warped by the sun and there's like a glare on it and you can't really, and I'm like, I can't read this map. I'm like, I guess I could look at my phone and see, I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to worry about it. And so I start walking in the forest, but I was like, recognizing that I had limited time because the sun's setting, it's going to get dark soon. And I wasn't acknowledging to myself that I felt nervous about that. I was just like, no, I'm here to see birds. I want to check out new places. Like, I'm going to check this thing off my list, you know? And so I just headed in, kind of disregarding my concern. And right away, within like the first 15 feet, all of a sudden this beautiful little thrush was on the ground and it got spooked. So it like ran away on the ground. And then I watched it. I couldn't see it after a minute. And then I saw it like fly away from a distance. I was like, wow, that thing ran for a while. Like it actually snuck through the underbrush and then like flew away. And then a couple more feet down the trail, this little winter wren started alarming. And I was just like, gosh dang it, you know, like that's me. Like I did this, you know? And so it was cause for me to pause and just check in and say, all right, what's going on? What's happening right now? And so I took a couple breaths and I just checked in with myself and I was like, oh, I'm nervous. I'm nervous about going down this trail and the fact that it's getting darker and that I have limited time. And so I just took a moment to check in with my heart and I was like, I feel safe. I actually do feel safe. And I know that I can turn around whenever I want to. I don't have to go the whole trail. I don't have to like go into the darkness or anything like that. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to keep going and I'm going to let go of this desire to see and like get, you know? So I was like, I'm just going to let whatever happens, happens. And so just within the next moment or so, the winter wren quieted down. I never saw the thrush again. That guy just like flew off. But then around the corner, I heard this like feet prints in the forest. It was like doo doo doo, and I thought, all right, it's either a deer, a moose, or a bear. Those are like the three animals that ran through my head. And so then again, I checked in with my heart, and I was just like, am I scared? Like, is there any like vibe that I have that's like not safe? And I was like, no, I feel nothing. There's like no fear at all. So I kind of crossed the bear idea off my mind. And I looked at the habitat and I was like, the habitat's not really right for a moose. I mean, they could be here right now, you know, anything's possible. But deer was kind of what came into my mind. And then just one more step around the corner, I saw it. And so I just slowly averted my gaze and I just looked the other direction and I started like getting curious about the trees, which were so beautiful. They were a whole bunch of beech trees and they were like backlit by the sun and they're all turning golden right now, you know? And so I just kept walking on my way really slowly and the deer never startled. It just kind of did its thing. And so I'm sharing all this with you because oftentimes our modern, like the frequency that we have as modern humans is very frenetic. It's very different from the frequency of the natural world. And it's not to say that the natural world never gets frenetic or intense or wild sometimes, because it does. Like during the rut, deer are like intense and crazy and just like, you just got to get the woman, go for the lady and whatever, and scare, get out, get rid of the guys. And but everyone knows to stay away from them. Like you can feel that when you're if you've ever been near rutting deer or moose or even bear, like any animal that's, trying, like basically in that energy of the rut, you can feel that. And so it's the same with us. It's kind of like we're in this constant rut as modern humans, and we've got this frenetic energy. So what can we do when we recognize that within ourselves, when we're like, oh, I'm the source of this disturbance? Because one of the things that I think, and we'll get right into the bird sit in just a moment, one of the things that I think we've become accustomed to, maybe not all of you, because most of you have been doing this for a long time, doing the bird sit and practicing all this, but a lot of the time, I think we as modern humans just assume or believe that having birds flee from us, like, is natural. Like when we walk in the forest, of course we're not going to see the birds. Of course they're going to like fly away, but I don't think it has to be that way. It doesn't have to be our experience where our presence causes them to fly. So what can we do when we recognize that we just caused that disturbance, that, you know, the birds just flew away from us? And it's not, anyway, I won't go into too much detail with that, but I'm going to share 4 different approaches today. Most of them are going to be common for you guys. You guys will know these right away. You practice them on your own. But we're going to go through them in more of a brief kind of approach of like, what do you do like in the moment so you can get right there? You can get right to that place of calmness, quietness, without having to go through like, a 5 or 10 minute mindfulness practice. So what we're going to do today, normally what we do is we do some grounding. But what I want to do right now is take us right into one of these approaches so that we can see how it works, if it works for us or not. But first, I want you guys to just listen. So listen in your area around you right now and look and just see, are there any birds? Are there any critters that are showing you any sign of alarm or disturbance? Is anyone around you upset in any regard, in any way? So just check that out. Just look around and see what you notice. To kind of get the vibe of the place. And then what we're going to do is the thing I did with the deer. We'll do this right away, right now. So oftentimes just our attention, regardless of our thoughts or the quietness of our mind, unless you're really, really skilled at this, just our attention, our gaze, our curiosity about another creature can cause disturbance for them. Um, it can push them. Even our love. And I'll share at the end of the bird set, I'll share a couple of stories about that. You might think that, oh, but I was loving them. I was like giving them all my love and attention. It's just like, even that can be too much for them. So let's just practice that right now. Let's start off by what we're going to do is we call it the lazy survey. I don't say we. John Young came up with this idea, this concept, and I love it. He calls it the lazy surveyor. And that's where you direct your gaze to something else, and like a plant or a rock or the sky, and you just get really curious about that. So all your curiosity is going to go towards something other than the bird or the animal you want to see. And you're going to do that with the energy of a lazy surveyor, someone who's getting paid by the hour, is not in any rush. He's just like, great, the more time I'm in here, the better, the more I get paid, right? So you're just going to chill out for a moment. You're going to just let your attention focus on, you could just pick one thing, a tree, a leaf, a plant, a flower, anything other than where a bird is right now. And we'll let you explore that for the next couple of minutes. All right, good work. So before we shift to another approach, take like notice of what your thoughts are right now, what your state of mind and your body, your physical experiences, just by averting your attention, just by shifting your attention to one aspect of nature. All right, great. And the next one we'll try on is something that most of you are really familiar with, and that's owl eyes. Also, something that John Young came up with that phrase, not the practice. It came from Tom Brown and came from Stalking Wolf and their lineage. Um, and so it's the idea of softening your gaze. So go ahead and find anything you want to look at right now that's, I don't know, anywhere from 10 to 50 feet away from you, and focus on one point. And then as you're focusing on that point, you're going to keep your eyes locked in that position, but you're also going to start to expand your vision. And you're going to try to look behind you, but you're still looking forward. So it's kind of that experience of seeing if you can do two things at once, in a sense. You're looking ahead, but you're also looking as far to each side as you possibly can, and then as far above and below as you possibly can. And you can start to notice your state of mind, your state of body. And then when you feel like you're really in owl eyes, when you've softened your gaze, you can gently gaze around. You can stay looking at that one place if you want to, if that feels calming to you. But you can also gently look around. And for the next couple of minutes, we'll do our best to stay in owl eyes while gazing around, looking around. And if you go into focused vision, that's okay. You can come back. Just bring yourself back to owl eyes as often as possible. All right, good work. So just notice for yourself how you feel, any thoughts you might have when you were in this state of owl eyes, softened vision, noticing how it might be different from the previous one or similar. Okay, beautiful. And so now what we're going to do is another option, and that is to take a few breaths. So we're going to focus completely on our breath. Now, you could opt to close your eyes for this one, but sometimes if we're alone in the forest or whatever, we might not feel comfortable to have our eyes closed in that moment. So you can choose to keep your eyes open right now and experience it that way. So what you want to do first is just become present to your body. So first we're going to bring our attention from outward, from the outward world inward. So drawing it inward and notice your body. You can notice your posture first. And then become present to your breath without needing to change it right now. Just notice what its own rhythm is. What's the rhythm of your breath in this moment? And as a way to slow it down and to get really tuned into our own selves right now and to get very grounded, we're going to count. And so some people may choose to go to the number 3, some people may choose to go to 4, some people may choose to even go to 5. That's a bit more advanced. And so just do whatever's comfortable for you. So we're going to go inhale for the count of whatever it is. I'll just say 4 for myself. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll inhale. Then we're going to hold it for that same amount of time. So for 4 seconds. And then we're going to exhale for 4. And then we'll go back to inhale. We're going to do that 3 times. So uh, I'll guide us through it, but you guys go ahead at your own rhythm. Actually, I think I'll just let you because everyone's going to be a little bit different with their timing. So what I want you to do is just we'll do the first round together, and then I'm going to keep us in silence, and you continue for 3 more times, and then I'll let you just sit in silence after that. So, all right. So we'll go ahead and get ourselves connected again to our own bodies, checking in with your own breath rhythm. And now on your next exhale, you're going to choose the count. So slowly inhaling, filling up your lungs completely, full, full, full. And then when you reach the top of that breath, whatever amount of time it is, you're going to hold for the same count. And then exhale slowly for the same count. So if it's 3, 4, or 5. And now continue on with this 2 more times, and then you'll sit in silence after that. Okay, good work. So the last one is sometimes one of my favorites. I don't do it all that often, but I do when I remember to do it. Anyway, I'll let you guys have your own experience with it. So the next one we're going to do, this is also one you can opt to keep your eyes open or closed, whichever one you prefer or feel most comfortable with in the moment. It'll probably be a bit easier if you close your eyes. And that is we're going to give our attention to our heart, to our physical heart. So we've just connected with our breath. And what I want you to do is actually take your hand, either hand, right or left, and put it over your physical heart. So place a hand over your heart and allow yourself to dwell, just to get absorbed in your physical heart for a moment. And you can keep your hand there, and if your eyes are closed, you can gently open them when you feel ready, keeping your hand on your heart, and just start to notice the world around you as you do this, as you stay connected to your physical heart right now. All right, beautiful. You're welcome to let your hand rest on your lap if you want to. You can keep your hand there if you like, if that's feeling good to you. And now what you can do is just choose any of those four options, whichever one you prefer. We did, the first one was directing your energy to a plant or the sky or something else. And we did owl eyes. The other one was focusing on your breath for a count, like a particular count. And the last one was placing your hand on your heart. So choose any of those four and just we'll spend the rest of our time in silence in this way. Okay, beautiful. So take the next moment or two to offer a blessing or gratitude to any of the ones that you connected with today in your environment. All right. Gosh, it's so nice to sit here with you guys and do all this together. So, if anyone has to head out and has to go, thank you for coming. We love having you here as always. Jacinth, thank you. And otherwise, you can stay for our chat and listen to everyone's reflections. So, who would like to start? Maybe what you can, if you want to, you can focus on anything you want to, but I'd love to hear which one you preferred, which one got you really centered and connected right away. Uh, yeah, and just which one you might have had a really special connection with or something that occurred for you. So anyone who wants to share. Yeah, Cheryl.
Well, I always enjoy doing the three breaths because it just sort of centers me. But then I always go into allies because um, I see much more movement by doing allies. Um, and um, those two techniques I use almost all the time. Sometimes I do fox walking. Sometimes I, do some of the other things, but and gratitude. Starting off with gratitude. So, so today, when I was doing allies, I noticed because once I started moving my head around, I had a hairy woodpecker who was making a lot of noise, and in my on my tree, and I rarely see it on this tree. And I also had a hermit thrush, and this is the first time I've seen the hermit thrush in my yard. And I was doing allies, and I just thought, oh, this is this is so fabulous. I have to give gratitude.
Oh, did we lose Cheryl? I think so. Cheryl, we lost you. Oh no, I was really, I want to hear what you have to say. Let me turn her video off and see if that helps. Because sometimes, let's say stop video. Was that what I want to do? Let me just see. Stop her video. It's not seeming to work. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I think it did. Oh, there you go. Cheryl, you're back. You're on mute though. You're muted.
Okay, so uh, all the little birds started just walking around, came up on my deck, just started being present. And and I saw a golden crowned sparrow this morning. So I had all these visitors that I haven't seen for a very long time. So it was a fabulous day. Thank you so much for this exercise.
Oh, yeah, Cheryl, that's beautiful. And I'm glad you brought that up because, of course, you don't have to just pick one of these. And I often do that. I'll often like lump them or, just whatever I want in the moment or I feel like, well, I need in the moment. So you don't have to just pick one, but I wanted to present them as sort of separate in case you do. But thank you, Cheryl, for that. Awesome. Jacinth in the comments said that these are all super great practices. I love the first one to focus on something else. It removes the pressure on the animal or the bird. And it's so true. I felt that I even felt the pressure removed from myself. There was something right away that I felt like the lack of pressure to find anything, to see anything, to do anything. So there's just like that idea of pressure is just dissolved with the first practice, which was to give your attention to something else. So Yeah, thanks. And Jacinth, if you want to say anything more, I'm not sure if you have to get, if you're busy with something else, but if you wanted to share any more about that, you're welcome to. Um, but I will, maybe I'll tell you guys because it sort of ties in. I'll share the story I had about love. So I don't even think I've told many people this story before, but twice in my life, and one was just the other night, but twice in my life, I've had these experiences where, and it's always often at night. So it's like as the sun is setting or it's getting dark, it's, starting to become twilight. And uh, with I have my J friend is on the railing right now. He's looking for peanuts. Um, with this one, it was when I was living in Durango, Colorado, and I had been doing this. It was like I was hired by this guy it was an awesome job. It was so cool. I did this project on his land where twice a month I would go and survey his land for birds. And I would spend like 4 hours out there. He had 40 acres and he had this trail that ran the whole 40 acres. And I would survey his land and I would document the birds. I did it for a whole year. So twice a month for a whole year. And at the end, I gave him like basically like a bird checklist in a sense of like all the birds that were on his land. And we brought in um, an archaeologist, we brought in like a plant person and trackers and like all sorts of folks for this big project to like, give this guy a survey of his property. Anyway, I had just finished. I was there later one day. He often wasn't there. He didn't live there full time. And so it was one day where he wasn't around. And I was up by where his garage was, and there was some pinyon pine trees. And I remember looking into the pinyon pine, and I think I had harvested some pinyon nuts as well that day. And I love pinyon nuts, like pine nuts, basically. That's where we get the pine nuts from, or pinyon trees. And so I love the pine nuts, and I had been eating them while I was out there, and I was looking at this pinyon tree, and I was just like so grateful for it. And I can't remember right now if there actually was a bird in there. I don't know. It wasn't. I didn't know that there was. And so I was looking at this pinyon and I was just like, oh, I love you. My mind, I was just like so grateful for it and sending all my love to it, just like super, super grateful. And like in that moment that I was just like directing all of my energy and all of my love to this tree, this bird was like, ah, and it just like startled and like flew out. And I was startled because it was kind of getting dark at that point. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, and it was just a little songbird. But I thought, that's crazy because I had all this love in my heart. Like, how could that have been like in that moment? I think I thought it was like a bad thing because I scared him. But I was like, wow, I guess I was so surprised that like love would do that to the bird. It would startle it. And then the other night, I was doing something very similar. There's this beautiful maple tree outside, and it's still holding on to its leaves. It's one of the biggest ones in my yard. And this tree is like where all the warblers were as they were coming through. And like this tree is just awesome. I love this tree so much. And so I was looking at it the other night, and again, it was getting dark, and I was just like, you're so beautiful. I love you. Like, again, sending all this love to it. And I can't remember who it was now, but there was a bird. I think it might have been like a robin even, or someone. I heard it like alarm, like tut 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 tut, tut. And I was just like, oh, I'm sorry. Like I didn't, I didn't mean to. But again, I was just like, it was only pure love that was coming from me toward the tree even. But because my energy was like just all going that direction, I'm sure the robin felt the attention, and so I think it's just being mindful of our attention, even when we come from. And I think Dawn had a story of that with a coyote once. You told that story where you were like sending it love, but you were just like, why was it scared, or why was it? I think it was something similar. I don't know if you remember that moment at all, Dawn. Does that sound familiar? Or maybe it was a fox. I think it was a coyote that was like following you one day.
Uh, no, I'd seen a coyote across a meadow,
Yeah.
and it was oblivious to me. And yeah, my usual intention I try to send out is, I mean you no harm. I'm just here to learn from you. Because I've noticed that too. If you focus the love too much, it can be a bit much. But this was actually the wind had shifted. I felt the wind at the back of my neck, and immediately it picked up my scent, jumped back like it had been electrified.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah. 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 Dawn's getting really into tracking too. So she's really attuned to a lot of those other elements as well. Yeah. Thanks, Dawn. Awesome. Anyone else have a story from this morning that you want to share? Some experience you had, or which was your favorite approach? Yeah, Julia, and then Gabrielle.
Well, I like just focusing on one thing, which is what I would tend to do. But focus on this cluster of Turk's cap blossoms. They're red, and what I noticed, there's one hummingbird feeding there, and I thought just one monarch, but I think there are two. Now I've caught sight of two, and all the others, have gone. And I found myself imposing my emotion on that. Oh, I'm left behind, and wondering if they have feelings like, oh, I'm left behind. I'm going to have to try to make this journey by myself or not. And of course, that's probably a cognitive error to impose our feelings on them. But I'm curious, and I'm kind of sad because I'm feeling like, oh, I'm left behind too. But anyway,
Yeah.
so but just focusing on something and enjoying the look of it
Yes.
seems to be good. And I tend to go into allies because I then kind of start daydreaming or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's a really beautiful question. I know I feel that with geese sometimes if I see like a lone goose and I'm like, oh, buddy, where's all your people? But then I often think back to my teacher, Martine um, Prechtel, and he would, I think I've shared this with you guys before. He would always get on us if we felt bad for an animal. He just felt like it was a really very human kind of almost selfish thing for us to do, or like not selfish. Selfish isn't the right word. It's like sort of above them in some way. I don't know what the word is for that, but like more righteous or something. But he was just like, they're warriors. They are like, and so I think about that. I'm like, what if that goose that I felt it just the other day? Like, what if that goose actually chose that? Like, what if the goose was like, for whatever reason, maybe it's the one that's going ahead. He used to tell us these stories about the cranes, the sandhill cranes, and in their perspective, he said that in his perspective, that the sandhill cranes would always send out like runners ahead to kind of like check what things were like, and then they would go back to their people and say, "All right, it's time to go. We can all go. Everything's good up ahead." Um, and so I just wonder, like, yeah, like our human mind wants to feel like again it's like our own thing of like what if I had people and I was alone and like I would feel really sad and and I just yeah I think that's possible. I'm sure there are times that that happens and that is possible for them. It might like or they lose their mate, and that might be like a lonely experience because like there's some birds like the geese or the sandhill cranes who spend like every waking and sleeping moment with that partner, and if they lose that one, like that's got to be wrenching, for them. I would imagine. I don't know. We none of us would know really, but I do think it is important to consider an other approach. The reason he brought that up was someone was talking about an animal that had been hit on the side of the road, and how oftentimes I know for me when we drive past that, it's like, oh, the poor rabbit, the poor this, the poor whatever, hawk, the poor, right, the poor animal, and he got really mad that one day when someone brought that up because it was so sort of offensive to him to think about an animal as a poor thing, you know it's like us as humans being like we're bigger, better, smarter, whatever then, and these animals are the poor whatever. And he's like kind of letting us know that like sometimes they choose the death, they choose that action, they choose this behavior or whatever, and that they have ways of knowing the world that we may never know, and maybe I don't want to say grander than us, but it might be good to think about it, so to help tip the scales a little bit, sometimes for us, for my own mind, if I think of them as like maybe knowing more or being like more aware of more in the world than I am, then it sort of sets me in a different place. But it is hard. Like I still to this day, even though he like I was present when he was, had that moment and it really impacted me deeply. I still like when I drive by like anything on the side of the road that's been hit by a car or a bird that like strikes a window or something like that, my very first reaction is like, oh no, and it takes a minute for me to think a different thought about it. So yeah, I'm just putting that out there. There's no like right or wrong or whatever, but it's just like offering a different vantage point, which I had never considered before. You know? Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Julia, for all that. Anyone else want to share their experience? Yeah, Gabrielle, and then and Claudia. Yeah.
Um, Gosh, so much is going through my mind when you said that, and I think when you mentioned the bird hitting the window, it brought me back to a couple of weeks ago when I was in Holland, and that dove hit the window and died in front of me and my cousin, and we both had such different reactions to it, and I think what we do as humans is we project that on the animal, even though we don't really know what they're feeling. But in this exercise, I woke up this morning with like major monkey mind. Like I just got stuck in some kind of rut and I couldn't get out of it and I couldn't get out of bed. It was just crazy. So when we did this last one on the heart, I got total stillness. And I thought, oh, I wonder if I could also do that with the breath. And I did, for the first time, did a soma breath work exercise yesterday. So I kind of did this for me personally, and I did the breath, and the stillness that had come with the heart continued. So it was just so profound that you can get the same um, ending in a sense with both of those,
Both.
the
Yeah.
heart and one of my sounds was the trash trucks, which always happen on Monday morning, and it went away, and so that was like big.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for this.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to bring the heart one in because it's something I just practiced the other day actually, and there's something that happens with us when we physically like bring like I can think about my heart, I can bring my mind to my heart, but when I touch it, when I physically bring my hand to my heart, there's something different that happens for us. And you can think about even like, let's say something scary happens or surprising or whatever it is. It could be good or like, a sad thing. It's like, we instinctively, like our instincts as humans, like no one necessarily taught us this. I mean, maybe we did see a grandparent or a parent do it, but like, I think it's an instinct to go, we bring our hand to our heart, right? And so there is something about the physical touch, or if you injure yourself, like your first instinct is to be like, ow, like our hand, which is healing capacities, instantly goes there to the thing that's been injured or wounded or hurt. And so, not to think of it in like a sort of a negative context, but just that there is something, I think, sort of magic that can happen with the physical touch on our heart. And I think it also brings us more present because our mind can wander a lot more easily, but when our hand is there, it's almost like it's another layer of reminder to stay in this moment, to stay present, and to stay right there in your heart. So I like the physical, like the hand there. It's kind of like drawing or sketching. Like I could take a picture, right? Or if I draw and sketch, there's something about using my hand that connects it to the rest of my body that's different. It's a different physical experience and bringing the world to us. So thank you, Gabrielle, for touching into that.
I just wanted to mention every morning there's a guy on Substack. I don't know how many of you do Substack. His name is Joel Cross. And he always puts his hand on his heart and starts with, "How is your heart?"
Hmm.
And then goes through this little, mantra that he does. And it has made such a difference coming into my day just to do that and with my hand.
Yeah, I think especially if you have a monkey mind, like a lot of us do, if you're in that place, if you've got thoughts or worries, let's say you want to go watch birds, but you notice that you're spinning on something, something just happened, you got an argument with someone or whatever it was, and you're spinning and you can't get out of that. Sometimes that physical, connection with your body, your hand and your heart, it can help us to move out of that a little bit quicker than just going into the breath. Because if you try to go to the breath, sometimes it's easy for the mind to, wait a minute, but what about that thing they said. But somehow the hand, just try it, just see what happens. I know, yeah, yeah. So thank you, Gabrielle. Thank you for all that. Yeah, Claudia, you had something to share.
Oh, yes. I really appreciated the first one where you had us looking at something else. And so I was watching the clouds move behind the trees. And they're just floating along, like bunch of the sky is just moving and they're grouping together over on one end of the sky. Anyway, that was lovely and I felt myself relaxing, but I loved each of them. Um, Today is, I guess, a woodpecker day because I had a little downy woodpecker in the tree and I'll see them once in a while, but not often enough for me. And my tree was very, very busy, but I think it really helped me to be able to relax and do those things. And I find that taking off my glasses when I'm doing owl eyes is helpful for me to do the owl eyes. And I normally get nervous when I have my glasses off when I'm trying to do anything because I don't know, it's that I want to be able to focus. It's like there's a need behind it. But when I take them off and just accept that, no, it can just be blurry. I don't have to just hone in on anything right now. It's a wonderful, relaxing thing. So anyway, but this tree has just been so busy this morning and had a flock of little lesser goldfinches just brightening up my yard. So anyway, it's just been lovely. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, I found that. I think Cheryl, you take your glasses off too, don't you, for owl eyes? Yeah, I think a handful of folks try that. And definitely,
Yes.
if you're feeling like you're in a safe place, that's a
Yeah.
lovely thing to do. And I'm really glad that you do feel that way, Claudia. Yeah, and thanks for
Thank
sharing.
you.
Yeah, about your goldfinches and stuff. It sounds so beautiful. Thanks. Awesome. Anyone else want to share their experience? Yeah, Anne Marie, go for it.
Well, just as we move through all four, the whole body relaxes. So, which is so nice. And then I'm under the deck because it's sprinkling a little bit today, but all the other birds then seem to come in closer when they can tell that she's not paying attention to us. She's just sitting out there again, that lady that they see a lot. And they're getting used to me, the point that often I'll be out here or walking around, and if I'm doing something, they come right close. I mean, it's like, within feet of me, or and do their stuff, and I was like doing these different things at different times of the day just to help. It makes me feel healthier because I'm relaxed, I'm less stressed. Granted, it's been easier since I've retired, but there's still things that are stressful. Even once you're retired, things happen. But and it's neat to practice it more because now that I can move around while I'm on a walk, because using the practices is a little different than when you do just a bird sit, and being able to do that with yourself while you're walking too. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, Emery. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good reminder. And that, that's what happened to me the other night was I was like, in my human, like, I'm gonna walk, like, I'm gonna go. And then I went and it was like just a couple feet in. I was like, oh, right. The whole reason I'm here is to connect with the birds. And what did I just do? I just like push, scared them all. So, yeah. And they can be just those good reminders too. I think the birds, the animal, like squirrels are amazing at this. They will totally tell you where your state of mind is. If you're spinning, they're gonna be like, pew, 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 pew. It's like yelling at you. Yeah, that can be really tricky when you have a squirrel yelling at you to try and find the place of stillness and quiet in your mind. That's like real mastery. If you can get a red squirrel to quiet down after it's already gotten keyed off on you, you know? Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Emery. Thank you. Anybody else? Stories from the morning? Well, thank you, everybody. I think most of you probably saw the announcement about Michael Boardman. There's a presentation with him, the artist, on Wednesday. So everybody's invited. I sent an email. Julia, you're looking like you didn't hear about that. No? Did you not get my email? Oh, you did. You didn't get my email. Okay. Check your spam folder just in case. And also on my Facebook page, there's a link to it right now. So if you go to Bird Mentor Facebook page, then you can find a link for Michael's presentation. It's free for everybody. And also, Julia, you're part of the Roost, right? I updated, I think I'll do an official post in there, but I updated because it's the same time as our normal monthly Roost gathering. And so, yeah, but I updated that gathering. So you can just go in the Roost and click on that gathering on our monthly thing, and it has the place to register for that. I think it either has the register or it has the link to join. I can't remember right now. Maybe just the link to join the Zoom. But anyway, find it on my Facebook page and you can register there because it's a different link. Yeah, yeah. He's amazing. He's incredible. He got a grant to study in the Arctic. So we're going to hear all sorts of cool stories. If some of you saw him on Wild Wonder recently, he's going to be sharing news stories, some of the same, but some news stories as well. And we'll get a chance to actually talk with him. And then there's a special gift for a special treat for folks who are in the Roost. Something we're going to announce later at the end of his presentation. So all right, everybody, have a beautiful rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.